Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me in my little RV home here. Today we're taking a little detour away from my regular content of, oh no, they're forcing us back into the office. Take a look at this video I was sent, how remote workers are secretly juggling multiple jobs. And essentially it's about overemployment. And it's one of those videos that tries to be unbiased, but even when they're speaking positively about overemployment and the benefits that you can gain, they're still talking about it in a negative light. It's essentially where you work multiple full-time jobs that overlap, and it gets kind of controversial, and I guess it depends on how flexible your morals are. But real quick, before we jump in, let me mention today's sponsor, Skillshare. Now, you probably know Skillshare for classes in photography, film, video, and editing, but they also have a lot of other career-focused classes as well. Behind the scenes, I've been working on content that you most likely didn't subscribe to, which is more life-related and things I've been doing since I've been living in an RV full-time for the past few months, and I haven't really talked about it. Now, how does that relate to Skillshare? Well, I've actually been watching a few of their courses. I've been watching MKBHD's YouTube guide.
Keep the tone in mind as if you're just talking to a friend. It's harder for some than others, because let's be honest, talking to a camera isn't the same thing as talking to a person.
As well as some other more creative filmmaking classes.
When you feel drawn to record what you are seeing, ask yourself, what exactly in the scene pulls me to record it?
Because I'd like to introduce you to some of the people that I've met here. I've actually met quite a few retired CEOs and vice presidents. It's been an interesting experience, and the conversations, I think, well, you'd enjoy them. And ever since watching a few of these cinematography classes on Skillshare, I think they've been pretty helpful in my composition. Here are some shots I got with the HR lady, just kind of exploring around these little towns we show up at. Anyways, if you're interested in growing your more creative career-oriented skill set, then you should check out Skillshare. Use my link down in the description, and the first 1,000 people to join will get a 1-month free trial. Let's jump back into this Bloomberg video.
Don't ever lie about not having the job, because employers can, fire employees for dishonesty no matter what it relates to.
But they can also fire you for honesty. They can fire you for being early to work. They can fire you for being late to work. They can fire you pretty much for whatever they want, at least here in the United States, where most places are at will and they don't need a reason, assuming they're not breaking any discrimination laws or labor laws or anything like that.
When you're thinking about two jobs and when you're thinking about the implications of having two jobs, not just in terms of responsibility, but in terms of the psychological load of having to lie and having to hide.
Just because people don't know something doesn't mean you're being dishonest with them. Do you see what I mean? How they just lump these things in together with people working multiple jobs. Here's another clip where they talk about people working multiple jobs and give them a ominous title of moonlighters with some spooky music in the background. And you can see how this really makes overemployment look like a positive thing.
Some companies are catching on to potential moonlighters, using tools like artificial intelligence or productivity monitoring software that can track employee engagement with various tools like monitoring how much your mouse is moving during the day.
There's a lot that can be said about employee tracking software, but one of my favorite points to pick on that at least they always mention is employee engagement and productivity, and how it somehow relates to mouse movement and how much you type on your keyboard, as if that's work getting done.
It would just be something that I would advise that a person would really think through, because, all the money that you could earn, if it ends up tanking your reputation in industry or having legal consequences and stressing you out so you can't even enjoy your time off.
But then let me play this clip for you.
If you are going to do this and separate your sense of self from your job, if that's what it takes for you to say, hey, I am not my job title, that maybe I want to be present and joyful and healthy and happy and have relationships, I think that's great. Does it make sense for you to devote all of your time and your extra time into one company where one day you can come into the office and suddenly it's like, guess what? No more job.
Exactly. One day you can walk into work regardless if they know you have a second job or not, and they can let you go. Well, now you have something else to at least fall back on. It's nice to have that leverage. And it's normally in reverse, at least when you're applying to the job. They have multiple applicants. They can sort through who they want and who they don't want.
But it doesn't necessarily mean people are going to be able to sustain 2-3 jobs at a time for many years, because as we mentioned, burnout is a real thing, and even if you can do it for a year or so, it doesn't mean you can do it, once you've got children or once you've got other responsibilities that kind of take time out of your day.
In my experience and the people that I've talked to, that are overemployed working multiple jobs, a lot of them are doing it with some end goal. They don't want to do it forever, they just want to do it until they have X amount of money so that they can do X, Y, Z, but they have some goal.
I think you're going to find that there are people that are going to be engaging in overemployment for very different reasons in very different ways. If there's one thing that we can take away from overemployment, it's this idea that we have more control over our time than we think. There are things that we believe to be true about working, about our day-to-day, about our calendars, about our relationships with our teams and our bosses that are the way they are because we've never questioned them, because that's just how they've always been. So the more interesting thing to think about is where can I do things a bit differently? Where can I explore new ideas or try new things or test out new concepts? And maybe by doing that, you'll start to shift and realize that your work reality is whatever you make it.
I'm not really sure what was said there, but I want to believe it was positive. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, hit that thumbs up button, click subscribe if you'd like to see me take on the corporate world some more, and break apart more of this, at least in my opinion, corporate propaganda. And if you have anything you'd like me to take a look at on the channel, feel free to slide in the DMs, Instagram, email, Discord, however you want to do it. And once again, I'd just like to say thanks to today's sponsor, Skillshare. And don't forget, the first 1,000 people to join Skillshare using my link down in the description or pinned comment will get 1 month free. Having said all that, I hope everyone is well, and I'll see you in the next one.